Hello and welcome to O Levels Biology lesson by Dr. Sabha. Today we are going to discuss the basic concept about the structure of the cell. The word cell have been derived from a Latin word that is cellula, which means compartment. If we zoom into the body of any living organism, it is made up of small subunits, a, a smaller compartment-like structures. These smaller components are called the cells. Cells are the basic structural and functional unit of any living organism. What does it mean? Let's suppose if we consider a human being, and if we consider that human beings are made up of bones and muscles. Like we have got many different type of cells and tissues, but we are only considering bones and muscles. The bones are made up of osteocells, while the muscular muscles are made up of muscular tissue. Osteocells tend to be hard. The muscle cells tend to be flexible. Muscle cells provide the movement, to facilitate the movement. Bones also facilitate the movement, but they are actually the hard framework. So it means that if we consider every cell, every cell is actually the smaller, every cell is actually a smaller structural subunit. Like it is giving the structure, and that structure is actually facilitating the function, right? So today we are going to explore the different components of a cell. Before we go into the subcellular structure, let's understand the structural organization of living organism. Structural organization of living organism. What does it mean? To understand it in a better way, we can have we can compare this concept with the structure of a building. For example, if I consider the building where I live, it has three blocks, and these blocks have different floors. On these floors, there are different apartments. In these apartments, there are different rooms, and in these different rooms, there are ceilings, there are walls, there are floors. Okay, so basically, this is actually the whole description of my living apartment. If we consider a living organism, whether we are talking about a plant or whether we are talking about an animal, it's up to us whatever we are considering. So whether we are considering a plant or we are considering a human being. Uh, so these human beings and the plants, let's consider a human. So both plants and animals are, if we cut open the body of any such living organism, so we explore different body systems. These systems are actually made up of different organs. These organs are made up of different tissues. These tissues are made up of different type of cells. Although we consider that cell is the smallest unit, but if we zoom a cell under the microscope, then we will see the different structures within a cell. So these are called the cell. These are cell organelles. These cell organelles are made up of different molecules. And these molecules are made up of different are these are made up of different atoms, right? So now we are going to discuss and explore the different components of a cell. For example, there are different types of cells. We can classify the cells on the basis of the number. We can classify them on the basis of presence and absence of nucleus. Now, what is nucleus? Presence or absence of nucleus. Nucleus is actually a subcellular structure. It is present inside the cell and it is actually responsible to control the cell activities. So let's explore. If the if we consider the living organism, if we consider that what are the number of cells that are present in any living organism, so we can divide the living organism into two groups, unicellular organism and the other are multicellular organism. Unicellular organism, uni means one, multi means many. If the living organism is made up of more than one cell, then we call them multicellular organism. Besides that, there is one more thing that we need to ponder over. Let's explore the structure, then we can understand it better. Okay, if we zoom into the body of any unicellular organism, for example, this small living organism is amoeba. It is actually an aquatic or it's actually present. It's a protozoa that is present in the water and multicellular organism as human. So unicellular organism, we are considering the body of amoeba. So amoeba, one cell is doing all the life activities. Means it is respiring, the cell is excreting, the cell is reproducing, the cell is moving. Means if a cell is doing all the life activities on its own, then we say that there is no division of labor. What does it mean? No division of labor means one cell is doing all the life activities. But if we zoom into a multicellular organism, especially if we consider the human, the birth process of humans is like that. The male reproductive cell sperm fuse with the egg cell. When the sperm and ova fuse together, it forms one single cell that is called the zygote. This zygote, this zygote keep on dividing repeatedly into a ball of cells, right? Some of the cells become the brain and the nervous system. Some of the cells become the lungs, the respiratory system. Some of the cells become the reproductive organs. So it's not one cell doing all the life activities. So for multicellular organism, we can call they are non they have no division of labor. What does it mean? No division of labor means that these cells, there are different group of cells and the different group of cells are doing different life activities. I hope I made it clear. Okay, now we explore it further. Um, the Robert Hooke was the first scientist who used a very simple microscope. The microscope that we use in our labs are complicated, but the Robert Hooke microscope was very simple. It consists of two lenses and a stage on which the sample was kept. And he was actually observing a piece of cork. Cork is actually a plant material And previously, in older time, it was used to seal the wine bottles. But now, cork has multiple applications, and cork caps have been replaced with the plastic caps. But what Robert Hooke was a very curious person. He cut a very thin slice of the cork material, a very thin slice, and observed it under microscope. To his most surprise, he observed these different compartments. These He could not discover anything new inside these structures, rather, he found the compact compartment. So he used the term cellular, which means compartments, and later on it was modified to the term cell. With the passage of time, with the development in the field of biology, more modern microscopes were developed, and later on the subcellular structures were identified. So here we are going to name some important subcellular structures. A cell can have very important subcellular structures like cell membrane, cell wall, nucleus. A cell can have different cell organelles like cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm, vacuole, nucleus, cytoplasm, vacuole, chloroplast, ribosomes, mitochondria, and many more. We will be discussing rest of them one by one in the next part of the lesson. Thank you for your time. And if there are any queries, uh, please share your queries. I'll try to address them.